Okay, so today I did my presentation on the organ market. Essentially our question was, is an organ market an ethical solution to the shortage of organ donations in the US specifically? So some background information, with organ donations, there's a waiting list dilemma. So many people get stuck waiting for organs for an extended period of time. It can range from months to years. Usually patients are waiting for kidneys or any organs, and they have to go on dialysis, which is very expensive to help maintain their health while they're waiting for these organs. And most of those on dialysis can cost up to $80,000 a year, and the total cost over the average 45 waiting period before receiving a kidney is $350,000. So it's very expensive, and usually most people can't afford it. About the lack of donors and donations, most cases people are waiting for transplants for years to end, and this is very detrimental to patients' health because they're at risk of survival, and also they're putting their medical expenses at risk because they're on dialysis, or they're waiting for so many years. Typically, people must wait for someone to die in order to obtain an available organ, and that can be rare because you have to match up with the same blood types. So it's typically pretty hard to find organs when you're waiting. Usually, waiting for people to die means that there's not a constant flow or availability for organs to use for people who need transplants. The case for and against. So the case for an organ market believes that a market for organs would allow for thousands of people in need to attain organs in a treatment and organs that they need in order to survive, also while incorporating different incentives and rewards for donors so that they receive payment for their generosity. The case against an organ market believes that a market for organs would allow for more bad than good, essentially. So it would introduce new black markets and allow for more people who are more desperate for organs to sort of scheme for money and regret their decision, and also some risks of exploitation. So to look at this like on a global scale, the US versus Iran, the US has already a very strict policy in place to regulate organ donations without a payment process. I'm sure you've heard of UNOS. That's the system that we use in the United States. That's like the waiting list essentially that you get put on. And so right now there's no system in place for regulated paid donor approach. And again, the expenses of dialysis when waiting for an organ are extremely high. So it's causing some issues with people who are waiting. And then in Iran, they have a decreased lack of donors through allowing a financial payment plan to donors. So they already have successfully set up a legalized sale of organs throughout their nation. So, and it's going well. So that's why we're looking to model that. Looking at like ethical approaches, the utilitarianism approach supports the ability to sell organs because it benefits a larger group and the larger scale of people overall who are waiting for organs. And then those in need of organs are most likely to receive them. And then those who want to benefit financially can by selling their organs. So it's kind of working better for both sides. And then the egoism approach countering that is it does support allowing people to sell their organs, and then people can do whatever they believe benefits themselves best. It also opens more options to people when it comes to deciding what's best for themselves. So that's kind of more on a personal case. And then next we have the 4 pros. So essentially, if we were to open a paid organ market, it would shorten the supply-demand gap, increase the number of organ donors because more people would be likely to donate organs if there were money. Money would be saved because of a decrease in dialysis patients because there's more organs being donated, and it would even out the poverty rate found in organ donors. And then the 4 cons. It could be a possible increase in illegal activities again, talking about the black market. It opens up more opportunity for people to sort of under the counter donate their organs, and like another risk of poor decision making from people selling organs just to receive financial compensation. So instead of actually wanting to donate your organs for good, you are more apt to doing it for the money, so that can run into some risks. Some against pros would be that there will be no motivation to give away organs and possibly endanger the health and safety of people who do. And then another risk or another pro would be there'd be no regret in the future from those who donated, and would also protect the poor and vulnerable who would be taken advantage of for their organs. And some against cons would be people in need of organs might not still get them, so there is a possibility that the system could fail. It could be a longer waiting list for organs, difficult time finding a compatible organ, and an increased risk again of black market organ sales. So our overall proposal, basically, we're in favor of this organ market. We came up with some regulations consisting of donors must wait at least 3 months between application and donation time. Donors must sign a contract admitting that they know the possible surgical and health risks during and after the operation. Compensation will be $15,000 plus the coverage for hospital stay and recovery fees, so like your post-surgery fees and the pre-medications. You must be 35 years old, no pre-existing health conditions, and kidneys will be the only organs that are eligible for paid living donation. And the kidneys can only be bought by hospitals, not individuals alone, so you have to go through a hospital. You can't just individually be buying organs. And then donors must go through a psychological evaluation to prove their competence. And then that's my works cited. And are there any questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
Yeah.